Here's a quick little survival video I filmed on the weekend off the English coast. It is meant to be a guide / instructional. I often use an anchor with this. We'll be detailing and testing some common methods, techniques and stories and how to film them. Please do excuse the note reading and the sunburn. Thank you. Please do know that this was filmed over the course of 2 days and 1 night.
Okay, so it's Daniel. At the moment, I'm in the sea. I've been drifting out here for the past few hours. I'm starting to feel a bit sick. We're getting very dehydrated when the sun beating down on me. You know, this place may be covered in water, but my God, it might as well be a desert because there is just not enough to drink. There's nothing out here to drink. It's literally a desert out here. What I'm doing out here, I'm trying to survive out here for 3 days. I'm on the first day, and I feel quite scared. It's not night time yet. I've been out here for a few hours, and I'm very kind of anxious about this water. You fall into the water, you could die, and there's not really anyone around to save you. So I was going to see how it goes, take it, a bit at a time. My mouth's already dry, but I'm not having any liquid inside me. Okay, so basically I'm in the sea, in the English Channel. I'm already feeling weak, I'm feeling a bit sick as well. So my plan out here is to try to survive for 3 days in total. I'm on the first day, and I'm just about kind of doing it. Water's not my favourite thing. I'm not like an amazing swimmer, so we're gonna have to see how this goes. Now I've got this dinghy, which I bought online. I spray painted it white to make it more visible at night for myself and for the camera. There's certain survival ideas, that happens in most survival kind of films. So first we've got shelter. Now with shelter, I can't really make anything. I'm out in the sea, you can't make shelter out of water. With fire, you can't make a fire because you're on an inflatable dinghy. A fire is going to do nothing but take the risk of actually burning down your dinghy. The embers might melt through the plastic, and it will destroy the craft and it will sink it. We've also got food. My best move out here is going to be seaweed and fish. I will try fishing. I don't really have any fishing equipment, but I will make something up. And water, well, there's plenty of water, but we can't drink it. It's the old kind of saying, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. At the moment, I do feel a certain amount of fear, but courage is going to places where you don't want to go. It's just a place I don't really want to be, but you got to be brave and you got to go out and do it. Now, a lot of survival is all about preparedness and knowledge, so the more you know about the area, the better. I've already spent a night out in a dinghy, much smaller than this, out in an estuary near the English Channel, so I kind of know I can survive the nighttime temperature just about, and it kind of depends if it rains. If it starts to pour down, then my temperature's going to drop massively. Now, look, at the end of the day, you can't control your destiny. You can kind of try to affect the outcome by some positive action. Now, when you're out at sea, you never know how long you're going to be out here for. You never know if you're going to be rescued or not. Could be hours, could be days, could be weeks, could be over a year even. So this kind of brings down, well, this kind of relates to the whole Stockdale paradox, where kind of a military man from Vietnam would see that the most optimistic soldiers wouldn't survive, as they weren't able to deal with the kind of the punishment and the defeat and the losses. But the ones who are more realistic or even pessimistic were able to survive, as they could deal with the shortcomings and the trials and the tribulations better. Okay, so at the moment, do I feel scared? Yeah, 100%. I'm out in the sea. It's not a place where I'm very comfortable at. I'm out here alone, so if anything goes wrong, I could end up dying. Like, fear can be very disabling, but it's all about trying to manage your fear so it doesn't affect you, because once the fear overcomes you, then all your decision making in any survival situation is going to leave you making the wrong decisions. You got to use your brain and not just think. Like, kind of being at sea is all about balance. Like, On your dinghy, you keep your legs wide. You want to spread your body weight all over. You don't want to be standing up really at all, because you're risking your chances of falling in much more than if you're just lying down. You know, survival is all about being lazy a lot of the time. You got to save your energy for when you actually need it. You know, if I see a boat, you want to go to a boat. And obviously, I am at a safe distance. You know, I'm not, you know, trying to put my life in too much jeopardy. So, you know, if I need to get to the shore, I'm sure I will be able to. But, you know, I'm at a deep enough distance, you know, to kind of make it have that danger involved. You know, it's all about balance out here, like weighing the scale, like a ballerina on their toes. You know, you gotta kind of become one with the waves and the swells, because it's going to be constantly moving. The sea is constantly moving, and you just need to be able to adapt with that. You know, the tides come in, the tides go out. Around about every, you know, 5.5 hours, the tides will come in and they'll go out, and keep on going. You know, it'll be in twice a day and out twice a day on average. You know, the sea can drag you deeper, especially when the tides come in back out. So you got to be careful to make sure you don't get kind of dragged out in a dangerous situation. Because once you're out there, you never know what's going to happen. You know, if you're too far from the shore, you may never get back, and that's how people die. You know, in 2016, that's when the most deaths on the UK coastline were. It's the record high at the moment, at around, I think, 362, 2016. So I want to make sure I do not become one of those figures for 2017. If you're out on a dinghy in calm weather, you might bob around for a few hours. You can drift as far as 2 knots. In calm weather, sure, you may be able to bob around the same place in the sea for a few hours, but, you know, if you are moving a lot, if your dinghy's moving a lot, let's say at a rate of like 2 knots, then you can move up to like 50 miles a day. It's just going to put you out of place. So if a search and rescue team's trying to find you, they're not going to find you, because where you were one day is not going to be where you were the next day. That's 50 miles in any direction you could have gone. So that's increasing the search area infinitesimally. Well, that's a bit of a swell there. Oh, okay, that was a bit of a swell. Okay. I'm not a fan of these swells at the moment. It's kind of pushing my dinghy way too high and very unsteady. Now, quite a bad thing about the sea compared to many other environments, say up in a mountain, say over, even in a desert, you know, there are markers of the geography. You know, in a desert, depending on the desert, it may be quite hard. But, you know, like if you find a tree, you see a tree in the distance, you see a sand dune in the distance, you know where you are from there. If you're on a mountain, you got very good markers of locations. Out in the sea, there's no markers. Everywhere looks the same in every direction. So you kind of got to be aware of that. So kind of the main thing you need to be aware of is kind of the orientation, you know, your north, south, east and west. If you know that, and you know where the landmass should be from there, then that's your best bet. Like, it's literally hopeless to try to fight, you know, the sea. You know, the tide's going in and out, you can't fight it. You know, you're going to exert way too much energy trying to fight it versus doing anything else. So you kind of want to be very careful and not waste energy, because, you know, if you start burning too much energy out in the sea, you're going to end up just burning yourself out, and you're going to get exhausted faster, you're going to survive longer. You know, survival's lazy. The lazier you are, the longer you survive. That's not an exact rule, but, you know, the least you want to expend the least energy as possible, slow down your metabolism and go from there. You know, if you go past a certain point and you get dragged out too far, then you may never actually come back. You might find yourself in a shipping lane and get sucked in by a ship. You might find yourself in a wave or a swell that's too high, and you could end up dying. Whoa, yeah, that wasn't too stable. Okay, so to keep a certain gear out here dry, I want to utilize an old method used by soldiers in, you know, World War II. You know, to keep the muzzles of their rifles dry, they would often use condoms. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to have to be careful for them not to tear, as condoms are quite weak. So sit over like weirdly shaped objects, they will be quite difficult. But yeah. Oh my god. Okay. So the sun's starting to set, and I'm feeling more and more seasick at the moment. I can't even motivate myself to film or do anything. I'm just literally lying down in this raft. So I wish I could fall asleep. I just feel so lethargic. It doesn't help that I'm yet to eat and I'm yet to drink. So it hasn't rained yet. Oh. Oh. Mm. Oh. This is the first time I've ever been seasick. When I was last out in the sea off the coast in Essex, I never felt seasick at all, but now I feel very seasick. It's not nice. I'm gonna try to eat some food. I feel really sick. It's really hitting me hard. Oh, just feel very sick. Oh my god, this is a very lethargic film. Like, my energy is sapped. Ugh. I feel like I have no idea how I'm gonna make it through 3 days at sea if on the first day I'm already feeling so sick I can barely even film and barely even keep my eyes open. First, seaweed. Little known fact, seaweed is edible and they are carbs, which is going to help with your energy levels. Now, unfortunately, because it's been in the sea, they're quite salty, so I don't want to eat too much. As I'm not feeling too well, I don't want to eat too much anyway. I just kind of need something in my stomach, and hopefully it will settle me. What I'm first going to do is test whether it's edible or not. So I was going to bite into it. It doesn't taste too bad. Now, I'm going to wait and see how I feel. See if if I get any tingling, or like if it makes you feel worse. Problem is that I'm already seasick, so if it makes you feel sick, I wouldn't really know what the cause is. Oh. Oh. I'm trying to avoid licking my lips because licking my lips will only make my lips more dry. Because I am at the sea, my lips, have touched sea water naturally. Anything, any water here, when it touches your lips, is sea water, which is salt water. and as the water evaporates from my lips, that leaves salty crystals, which means I want to avoid licking my lips, because any kind of reduction in the amount of salt you take in is going to benefit you massively, as your kidneys won't have to work in overdrive to try to pull water from your body just to filter out the salt and kind of dilute the salt. Ah. Oh. If the sun's going down, I can feel the temperature dropping. I feel like it's going to be a very, very cold night. Oh. Oh, I'm getting so tired. Oh. Oh, it's like a yawn and a moan of pain. Oh. I think I fell. I think I fell asleep there. I feel the lethargy. The lethargy is a bit much at the moment. Oh, the sun's going down. I'm getting colder. The sun's going down. I'm getting colder. Like, how will I have the energy inside me to deal with the cold in the night as I can't make any shelter? Oh, ugh. Hmm. Oh. Oh, so tired and in pain. Oh, come on. Oh. Oh. Wait, so it's been. Oh. Oh my god, I feel sick. Oh. Okay, so I don't think this seaweed is harming me, so I'm just gonna eat some of it. It's not too bad. It's just a leafy green. Oh, so tired. I've just been falling asleep. I'm just going to try my best to try to sleep off this seasickness. So I feel way too ill. Ugh. It's getting darker and it's getting darker and it's getting colder. Sun's going down. It's getting quite misty and foggy out. I've been trying to get to sleep. I've had a bit of sleep. I still feel a bit seasick and it's getting very, very cold. Let's see what happens tonight. That's the moon behind the clouds. This is such a bright moon. Ugh. Oh. Like, the moment I start moving, I just start feeling sick again. It must be like the middle. It must be. I can't see. It must be the middle of the night now. And I just feel terrible still. I must be in the middle of the night and I still feel terrible. It's not so bad when you're just lying down, but then once you start trying to film stuff with a camera, that's when it starts to kind of kick back in the seasickness. What I've tried to do is stay quite central in the dinghy, and that'll kind of minimise how much movement there is, because most of the movement is all around the edges. But that does make a difference on a dinghy this small. I've had some sleep, which would be nice. Other than that, I feel absolutely terrible. The temperature has taken a turn for the worse as well. It is absolutely freezing cold. The wind takes the heat out of you. The sea air just takes the heat out of you. To kind of get some more light. Use these glow sticks to get me. My only plan now is to just try to survive the night and try to stay warm enough. I'm absolutely soaking wet. Despite not even having been inside the water, I'm still soaking wet. Just from the sea air and just from water just constantly splashing its way in, it does soak you through. There might be a leak on this thing, I don't know. But there's got a fair bit of water inside here. I'm very concerned. If I do vomit, I will lose vital liquid out of my system, which I can't afford to do with no kind of water intake at the moment. I do need to keep hold of any liquid I have in my body already. I feel so sick. My stomach feels just so nauseous at the moment. Uh, uh, uh. This is constant moving around. Ugh. Oh god. It's just, I didn't know that seasickness or motion sickness would actually affect me in this way, to this degree. I'm so tired as well. I'm concerned about sleeping. As if I'm asleep, I'm not aware of the swells or the waves. Which means I kind of feel a bit more in danger. And it's so it doesn't help that it's so cold that I'm kind of have a certain fear about sleeping right now. You can just constantly hear the water hitting this dinghy. It just doesn't sound nice. It sounds like there's water in. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But it's hard to get steady sleep here because you're always moving around. Yeah, it's hard to get any steady sleep because you're constantly bobbing around and it keeps you awake. Oh god. No, it's getting. Nah. It's getting too cold. Oh god, it's cold. Ah. Got to keep all that saliva in your mouth, don't spit it out. All that phlegm. Don't spit out phlegm, it's still liquid. So yeah, I've been trying to avoid going to sleep. I'm kind of scared if I fall asleep I might not wake up, my boat might kind of sink itself. I've been trying to avoid going to sleep, so I'm scared when I wake up and the boat might sink itself. It's so cold. And I have had a bit of sleep, you know. In my dreams I was, getting with a girl, and my mouth was so dry the whole time. And it, that kind of reflects how I feel in the real world, where my mouth is very dry. Like all the seawater, the salt water, the lack of actual fresh water. Like, the boat being white will increase my chance of being seen if a boat does come across my path. In terms of, like, I don't want a boat to crash into me, because it would absolutely just probably drown me or something like that, probably. So yeah, staying warm at night is my #1 priority. Food's not important, water's not important, fire's not important. Just being warm is key. It's important to not get rid of your clothes, discard them, because they will keep you warm the more layers you've got on. And I try to keep my face below the walls of this boat, as that kind of blocks out some of the wind, and I'm wearing my hood to stop the wind from hitting my face as well. But as I do this interview, I'm getting absolutely bloody cold. It's getting cold. Clothes are an important barrier between your body and the elements, so it's good to keep them all on. They are wet, I'm shivering. But, oh god, it's better than being naked. And I've done these things like this naked, and being naked is the worst, as you're just cold the whole time. But the only shelter I really have is my clothes and a bit of plastic. The only shelter I really have are my clothes and a bit of plastic. You know, my heat loss areas, or my heat loss zones, really at the moment are like my feet and my face. So a lot of my heat is just dissipate. Oh, sorry, it's getting cold. Dissipating from, and it is absolutely freezing out here. There's an American who survived, I think, many months out on a boat without any food or water, and he survived because he had managed to stay on top of his boat the whole time. Once you're in the water, that's when hypothermia really kicks in, because the water will take your body heat away from you so much faster than that. Oh my god, it's so cold. And you need to protect your heat loss areas, like, you know, your head, your groin, your chest, you know, your torso, your feet, your armpits. So I try to kind of curl myself into a ball like this, and just to keep a bit more warmth inside of me, rather than trying to sleep out with my legs straight. I try to curl into a more fetal position. See, that's the cold and tiredness hitting me hard. I don't have any gloves on, which means I'm losing a lot of heat from there. Yeah, just want to get something between you and the outside elements, whether it's the clothes, it's the belt, it's anything. So we're coming to the end of night one. As you can see, the sun is rising. Good thing about seeing the sun rising is that the sun will always rise from the east and set in the west, going down through south. So you know, if that way's east, then west will be that way, and that's where the landmass will be in this situation. It'll be the British landmass. Obviously I can see the landmass. I'm not an idiot. I'm not gonna take my dinghy out a billion miles out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you need it a safe distance away. You know, gotta be safe. Yeah, I'm freezing, so I'm gonna try to get some more sleep. And I'm going to also, if I can, when the sun does come out, I'm going to use it to get myself dry and warm again. Kind of bathe in the sun like a lizard will, or a snake will, as they can't regulate their own temperature. At the moment, I'm struggling to regulate my own temperature, so I've got to take a kind of leaf out of a lizard's books. Alright, so just a quick update about using condoms to dry your items. As you can see, I put my audio recording into 2 condoms, just like the World War II soldiers did. Yeah, so I've survived my first night out here. It was pretty damn cold. I'm still cold at the moment, but I'm kind of trying to let the sun kind of warm me up and dry me off, you know. I'm still wet and soaked from being inside this dinghy. I haven't even been in the water yet, but just, you know, the water splashes into here. There's piss inside it as well. It leaves you quite wet and soaked through, so I'm trying to let the sun evaporate the water off me at the moment. Well, to be honest, I'm going to be a little bit lazy. I'm going to just record just a bunch of like anecdotal type stuff now, because it is very hard to film out on a dinghy. There's some notes I made last week, which are things I wanted to talk about when I'm out here. So it's going to all be in one cut, so you have to edit that yourself. Okay. So this is one survival challenge where there's so much water, but I can't drink any of it at all. It's a very unique situation that I've never really been in before. In most challenges, the water which I've been around is normally always been fresh water, if there is any water there. You know, it's the old adage, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Ocean sea water should be avoided because it's really bad for your kidneys. It can cause kidney failure and dehydration. Uh, whilst I think everyone pretty much recommends you don't, there have been doctors in the past. A guy called Dr. Alan Bombard, back in 1952, did a study where he went out at sea and drank seawater, but his findings weren't very clear and there wasn't really that much data. He kind of wrote down on it, so I'm not really sure how much seawater he drank versus how much fresh water he drank. He said he spent like 65 days out there in the sea with no provisions other than salt water, some fresh water somewhere from like rain and like fish. How much of this is known to be true, there's no way to know. What his ratios of fresh water and seawater were. So it is possible to do this. It's not really worth the risk. I don't really need to. Because the thing is, because seawater has a higher urine content. Okay, so basically human kidneys can only make urine that is less salty than seawater, which means that more water is used to get rid of the seawater than the seawater you're drinking. This causes dehydration and kidney failure. Some people say that it's possible to drink up to about 32 ounces of seawater a day, but I don't know. It may do harm to you and it may do damage to your kidneys. And I think to drink 32 ounces of seawater, you really do need some fresh water at hand to kind of like dilute it. Sort of ratios. Yes, even like salt water will cling to your lips, like the sea air, salt water. You lick your lips, you're going to make yourself more thirsty, so I try to avoid licking my lips. But I feel like I have to lick my lips because they're so dry, it feels like they're being damaged. So it's kind of like the balance between, a bit of pain here. Nobody ever dies from having dry lips versus trying to minimise your kind of salt intake, no matter how small. It's kind of risk and reward, The tongue's very absorbent and it will absorb the salt. Salt in blood is, I think, 0.9%. Seawater is 2.1%. So you can see the big difference there. It's like almost double the amount of salt in seawater than there is in your own blood. Also, drinking urine, don't drink it. It's salty. It's not worth it. It's got, you're just reingesting salt from your kidneys it's reingesting salt that your kidney has been trying to eliminate. So it's best not to drink seawater. No. You shouldn't drink your urine either, because really what you're doing is reingesting salt which your kidney has been trying to eliminate out your body, so it's kind of counterproductive. Now drinking rainwater is what it's all about, but it hasn't rained yet. We're in England. Well, we're not in England, we're near England, and you would have hoped, or I would have expected it to actually rain a bit. To my knowledge, it hasn't rained, but basic methods when it does rain, basically your boat is covered in seawater. Seawater's jumped in. There's just liquid on the base of your boat all the time. This means when it does rain, you can't drink straight from the water that's in your boat like this. All that water there down the sides, you can't drink it because that's already contaminated with seawater. So what you want to do is get some kind of tarp or some kind of something to contain water. As it starts raining, wash out the container so that you get rid of all seawater, and then you can collect fresh, uncontaminated seawater from there on. But as I said, it hasn't started raining yet, so I'm yet to actually do this in practice. So basically about my night's sleep last night, it was bad. It was cold. I was shivering at times. I kept waking up quite a bit because of the movement of the waves. Still feel a bit seasick just from constantly being bobbed around. My hands were pretty much completely frozen, could barely even move them at all throughout the whole night. And this is followed by the fact that my back is killing me, because when you're kind of lying in a raft like this, it is very bendable to your weight. So I was already sleeping in like a slumped position, and then when you combine that with the constant movements of the water underneath your raft, your keeps on bends your malleable base. My back was constantly being contorted into uncomfortable positions, which wasn't very nice. So that was very uncomfortable. As I was doing yesterday, I kind of wanted to fill in some stuff about the seaweed. So I didn't really have time to talk about. Seaweed can be one of your best sources of sustenance out here if you don't have the equipment to fish. You know, it's very easy to catch, very low intensity, but the calories aren't really very high. So you can do seaweed, as I did yesterday. I did a few tests of it. I tested it on my tongue, waited some time, see if it had any like ill effect on me. It didn't have any ill effect, so I continued eating it. Living off seaweed may not sound fun, but hey, like, what you're gonna do, it's easy food, so you can't really complain too much. You know, it might not be, you know, the most appealing meal or appetizing meal that you can find, that you'll have all year round, but it'll, you know, fill in that little void in your stomach and make you feel that bit better, you know. It'll kind of activate your digestive system, and that'll help keep you warm in the night, you know. If you eat a bit of seaweed late at night, then throughout the night your body's going to be kind of working to digest it, and that's going to keep you warm. But be careful not to eat too much. It is quite hard to digest the food, so if you don't really have any drinking water, it can kind of do more harm than good. But you know, I only had a little bit just to settle my stomach. So I feel like it might have settled my stomach. I feel a bit better. I still feel a bit nauseous from moving around all the time, but I'm kind of getting a bit more used to this seasickness. You got to make sure you thoroughly chew it, because it is hard to digest by your kind of digestive system. Chewing it properly would do you the world of good and save a lot of hassle down the line. Also, like in any seaweed, you can find actually not just seaweed inside it, but you can also find, you know, edible fish, crabs, shrimp, just anything inside it. You can either eat this stuff or use it as bait. It's very useful. It's low calories, but for the long term, it won't be enough. See what it looks like. Oh, I'm just trying to use the sun to warm me up at the moment. It's working. I can't wait for it to become midday when it gets a bit warm and the sun's just right overhead. I should feel a lot better then. For now, that's it. You never know whether a helicopter could be a rescue helicopter or not. Who knows? There's no way to know. I'm gonna do some fishing. I don't have any fishing line or fishing equipment, but I'm gonna go very improvised stuff you can find out in the sea or on your boat, like in the water or on the beach. So what you see a lot are tin cans floating around sometimes. I've got my shoes as well. What I'm gonna do is make a fishing line out of my shoelaces, and then I'm also going to make a hook from some can lids. So it's gonna take my shoes off. Like so. There's now got a knife. I'm going to cut inside it. I'm going to have to use a sharper knife. And in here I've got the white inner string. Let's cut that other end as well. So if you can see it, got the white inner string. Oh my god, oh I feel sick. Oh. Feel very seasick and lethargic. This is why I can't do anything on this dinghy. I just feel just motion sick all the time. It's not too bad lying down, but once you start actually doing some kind of activity and you're seated up, you just have the effects of just movement of the boat affect you much more. Oh. I feel so sick. Wow. Ah. Oh, yeah, sick. I feel so nauseous. Oh. 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 There we go. This will act as a fishing line. Using a can lid. See if I can. Everything's taking me ages because I feel so sick. Oh, I feel nauseous from just. Ugh. I just feel like I need to constantly burp. Ugh. So you wanna try and make a hook out of this, generally by bending it and just. There we go. There's a little hook. And there is an improvised hook. Right there to change the balance. Right. The good thing about these is that put a bit of bait on it as well. Put a bit of bait on this as well. Fish are very much attracted to shiny objects, so this will kind of catch the sunlight, and that will kind of make the fish more interested to kind of bite and see exactly what it is. So let's give it a go. Oh my god. Oh my god. That feels. Oh. Ugh. 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 Every movement is so difficult. Apart from the fact that you're in a moving dinghy, and the fact that I feel so sick. Ugh. There you go. Just gonna put that in. Just tie it around here. And we'll see if we get a bite or not. It's unlikely to us. Even if I do catch a fish, do I even want to eat it? Because I feel sick already. No. See if we get a bite or not. It's unlikely to us. Even if we do catch a fish, do I even want to eat it? Because I feel sick already. Gotta be careful to keep your knives put away. Don't want to burst an inflatable raft in the sea. Let's see. Okay, so like when you're in the sea, your main source of kind of food will always probably be what's in the sea, which is going to be fish quite often. You know, they're a great source of protein, but they don't have that much fat, and they are not a source of carbs. But you know, they're a great source of protein, great source of food. An advantage on my boat is that underneath it is a dark colour. For some reason, fish do seem to like the shadows created by dark surfaces on the top of the water. Whether it's because they like it out of curiosity or they feel like it provides them safety, who knows. To catch them, you can put like jewellery on a line. I've used a can lid and used that to help catch them, because you know they are attracted to shiny objects, and we'll see what happens. You can use like a piece on you can also use pieces from a smartphone if need be. You can do whatever. Now when I do, if I do get a fish on the end of the line, I'll quickly jerk it and get that can lid stuck inside their mouth, and then I'll be able to pull it out of the water and much more safely. You know, whilst using the can lid, isn't going to be as useful as say using like a fishing hook. I'd know that a can lid is very much unlikely to burst my boat, whereas a fishing hook could easily burst my boat, so it's not the worst thing in the world. You know, the boat is way more important than food. Now it's better to fish during the day when it's warm, because I feel like you can be more active. But at night, if you can use a light, you can definitely attract more fish to your bait. You could also try spear fishing, I could essentially just strap my penknife on my. You can also try spear fishing. I can always put my multi-tool Swiss Army knife on the end of a pole, but they are floating poles, so I don't see how that's ever really going to jab into a fish. Now, eating fish has a serious downside for just survival. Whilst they are full of protein, protein does require extra water. So yeah, basically, yeah, fish has a serious downside to any kind of survival task. You know, they are full of protein, which is a massive plus, but protein requires a lot of extra water just to flush out the byproducts of digestion. It's better to get carbs, but you know, eating protein, eating in general, will force you to kind of get dehydrated faster than, say, if you was eating carbs. But you know, there's not many carbs out in the sea, unfortunately. There is seaweed, but you can only have so much, as it is hard to digest, and it is, you know, covered in salt as well, and you can never really get rid of the salt content inside it. You know, fish are not just food, they're also liquid and water. Like, you know, in their flesh, their eyes and their spine, there's water. You can extract the liquid by breaking open the vertebrae and sucking it out. But you know, it's better if having fats and sugar in survival, but I don't have any on me. Well, you can drink the blood of a fish, you know, but the blood of saltwater fish is a lot more saltier than freshwater fish. So it might be you could drink the blood out of a fish, but the salt content in a saltwater fish is a lot higher than the salt content in a kind of freshwater fish. So it's probably advised to not do it. So you should never really drink the salt of a freshwater fish, or you should never drink the salt of a saltwater fish. You know, if you can find a bird or a turtle, give it a go. Yeah, the meat of a turtle is very good. Birds are great sources of food, and they contain, you know, quite a bit of liquid in them. And also, you can save any bits you don't use for bait, which is going to make fishing so much easier. You know, waste not, want not. You have to be a scavenger in every way you can. Like with seaweed, you should really be boiling it first, but with out here on a floatable raft, there's no chance of boiling seaweed. If you're on an island, yes, you can try to boil it, but not out here. Now, there are some kind of major safety. Now, there are a lot. Britain, our islands is covered and surrounded. Well, Britain, the British Isles, obviously in the name, are islands, and they are surrounded by water. Unfortunately, based on like kind of coastline fatalities, the RNLI, which do a great job, have said that in the past year, I think 162 people have died at the seas around the coastline of Britain. It's the highest it's been in the last, I think, 5 years. This is back in 2016. It's the highest in the last 5 years, with adult men constituting 74%, and about in between 74%, with adult men constituting in between 74 and 77% of all the kind of deaths. Now, this time last year in August, 5 men were pulled dead from the sea at Canberra Sands, you know, and a 6th person was thought to be missing, you know. They're most likely dead as well, you know. The number of people that died in 2013 on the coastline is the highest it's ever been as well, and then it was beaten again in 2000. Well, shouldn't really say beaten, but it was unfortunately increased in 2016. Now, more people die in Britain at the coasts than they do die in cycling accidents, so you really got to be careful when you're out here. Now, a lot of things that contribute to a lot of things that contribute to deaths out here, stuff like cold water shock, rip currents, rip tides, you might know it as, fatigue in the water. You know, you get hit by the cold shock, you panic, you start breathing much too fast, and then, you know, you start taking in water, your body seizes up, you end up drowning, you know. The water, it's full of hidden dangers. You know, in the water, it's so different to land. You know, on land, you're safe. In water, you go inside the water, There's no oxygen. There's no way you will die. Within like a few minutes of being like underneath it. Literally, like back this time last year, 6 people died in the space of 24 hours in complete different tragedies. This time last year, 6 people died in the space of 24 hours in like different tragedies around of Britain on the coastline. This is back on the 22nd of August, 2016. Even so, like last month, last month in July, 2 part-time sailors did drown over in Donegal. You know, they're used to the sea, but some unexpected rough conditions unfortunately took their lives. You know, they were good conditions when they went out, but they got worse as the evening went on. So you really got to be careful about what you're doing. You got to have your safety equipment with you. You got to have your head screwed on. But a lot of the time, if it gets worse to a point, there's not a lot you can do. I'm about to take off all my gear. Because everything I'm wearing feels so itchy. Oh my god, it's so itchy. Like, all over my whole body, and my back especially. I feel so seasick as well. I just want to throw up. I want to throw up at the moment. Oh god, it's really getting tough. Oh my god, it's so hot as well. So dehydrated. Ugh. Hi there. I'm somehow still alive and kicking. This seasickness has really thrown me for a loop. It's been the absolute worst, you know. Hunger I can deal with, dehydration I can deal with, seasickness. Oh, it's not nice. It's not just like, you know, when you hear about people being seasick, you think, that's a bit weak. But that's, you know, maybe that's because they're on a boat. They're normally on like a large, decent sized boat, and it's only slightly moving, and they're on it for like a half hour, an hour and a half most. This is the second day I've been on this same dinghy. It's a small inflatable dinghy. It's constantly moving because it is small and it's inflatable. And it's just the motion sickness. You constantly move, like non-stop. Imagine being on land and, like, I don't know, you're just constantly unsteady, you're constantly being moved around. So that feels like, and it's just absolutely torn my stomach apart. If you did ever want to be rescued out here, you can always use the back of a phone to catch the light. And create a signal. If you do it in patterns of 3, so it's repeating, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because humans are kind of trying to see patterns and then work to see it as non-natural if it's patterned. See, I'm absolutely fucking knackered after being at sea. I'm absolutely shattered. It's just the seasickness is just non-stop. Now I'm avoiding trying to catch any fish or trying to... So I've got myself a source of water, almost accidentally. So inside this plastic top there was seawater, and now you can see all these droplets at the top must have evaporated and condensed. So what I'm gonna do is cut it open and lick the droplets. It's not a lot, but it's good. Now it's right like a solar still. So yeah, I'm gonna just go into it and get some liquid. That tasted nice and fresh. That tasted so bloody nice and fresh.